Darren, how are you? I believe you need to unmute yourself.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Can you hear me now?
Hey, my homeboy, Darren.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. We
Well,
have a
look,
lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on.
absolutely. I was sitting there with you sent me an email earlier, but the Zoom information was different on that email than it was on the text.
Oh my goodness.
So I was sitting there and it was thank you waiting for the host to let you in. I'm like, it's 6 o'clock. There's no way that she's not there.
Wow, I went in and double checked again. Sometimes, if it's a planned meeting or if it's my standard personal ID, it's two different numbers. So I said, let me double check and send it out again. But I'm so glad you made it. Are you ready to hit the road running with this? What's going on? There's so much going on, man.
Man, there's a
We
whole
haven't
lot.
talked in a long time.
I know that's right. There's a lot going on out here. People are going crazy.
Yeah, but you and I, we hanging in there.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to start out talking about Tiger Woods and the update. He was in a car crash, and just want your thoughts on, because the first thing people look for is, were drugs involved or was some foul play involved? But they ruled that out, that it was not.
And I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
Honestly, because they've been on Tiger since the first scandal. It's kind of crazy because they act like Tiger's the first guy to ever cheat on a woman before.
Yes.
And like it was like the worst thing that ever happened. So first and foremost, I'm glad it wasn't worse than it could have been,
Yeah.
Obviously people are going to question like what in the world happened. You don't just flip a car over like that without some type of reasonable excuse, whether you took your eye off the road for a second or whether you fell asleep driving.
Mm-hmm.
He had just had surgery, so realistically he could have fallen asleep,
But after the investigation, they found that there were numerous accidents in that same spot.
Yeah.
So it's a dangerous, curvy area. So,
Yeah, so they didn't say he was excessively speeding or that he was drinking or had any other influences. So the only thing I can say is that I'm just glad that it didn't end fatally.
I'm so thankful.
And I would love to see him get back to the Tiger of old. I don't know if he'll ever be dominant as he was in his prime, because he is older, and as you get older, you're going to lose some things. But I want to be able to see him at least be competitive. It's not normal watching a Tiger Woods go out in the first. He's not playing on Sunday. Now I can deal with him losing. It's just the way he's losing. His body is just kind of giving up on him. And if I were him, I'd probably retire.
But his name is synonymous with golf. He has nothing more to prove. It's almost like when, as you say, as we get older, sometimes people look for reasons to put you out to pasture. But he really has nothing more to prove. His name is synonymous with golf. And whose other name other than Jack
Palmer or Jack?
Palmer. Yeah.
I would say this: he doesn't have the record, but I think he's the greatest golfer ever. One, I think he did it against tougher competition. And against that tougher competition, he dominated like no one else dominated before, right? And if it wasn't for his body failing him, who knows how many more majors he would have won.
Would you say he was the GOAT?
Yeah, I'd say that. I would say easily. Because there's no... a lot of things kind of contributed to Tiger's downfall. I mean, most people don't really talk about the significance of his father. And everywhere he went, his father was his biggest cheerleader. Tiger hasn't been the same since his dad died, if you really want to know the truth about it. And all the bad choices that he made were made after his father died. So, that tells you the importance of a father in your life. And I'm sure he had a lot of input and influence over Tiger's decisions. But if you really want to, just go back and look at how he dominated. Once Tiger's father died, Tiger never was the same anymore. People don't talk about it. They just want to talk about his downfall. They want to talk about the women. They want to talk about all the other foolishness. But no one talks about the fact of psychologically, maybe he just wasn't motivated the same once his dad died. You never know.
Exactly. And who is the same after they lose a parent, really? People grieve in so many different ways, and they need time to grieve, and it's no time limit on how long you should be grieving. So I absolutely agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, so speaking of sports and greater, we want to move on to Russell Wilson in the trade chatter. What are your thoughts on 10 teams interested in Russell Wilson, and is he disgruntled? He doesn't seem to have that personality as to be disgruntled or to talk against the team, but he's tired of being sacked, and I don't think he wants to leave Seattle. But what are your thoughts?
I do. I think that he's not the kind of person that's going to take a stance like Deshaun Watson, if you will, because I think he protects that image. He's a saved man, so I think he's always going to function and be a good representation of the Lord. When you're talking biblical things, it talks a lot about just the difference between respect and honor. And you're supposed to honor the people that have over you, like your bosses and things like that.
Oh, right. Yes.
You talk about his spiritual relationship. I don't think he'll be but so aggressive because of that, right? You can see how he carries himself. I mean, with all that money and all that fame, he didn't even have sex until he got married. I mean, how many dudes are really walking and really caring about that,
Right.
So when you look at Russell Wilson, I think that he has a wife that's in entertainment. If he leaves there, he's going to a big city. So you notice, he said,
Detroit,
the man in
Chicago, New Orleans.
It wasn't Detroit. It was New Orleans, Chicago, Dallas.
In Detroit. I thought Detroit. It was Chicago, Detroit, Dallas, New Orleans were the teams that he would consider.
Yeah.
But it's 10 teams interested in him.
They don't make no difference because
right.
See, Russell has a no trade clause.
Oh, tell us about that.
That means that the team can't just wake up in the morning and say, forget Russell. We're gonna ship him. I don't care if he won those 4 teams. We're gonna ship him to the Jets. They can't do that. If you trade him, he has to approve it. So for him to get traded, he has to lift his no trade clause and agree where you're gonna send him. And Deshaun Jackson has the same
thing. So where do you think Deshaun Jackson should end up? The best choice?
No,
because Steve Harvey is talking about Cleveland.
What he should do?
What?
Make his way on down to the Washington football team, right? If you're asking me, But the truth is, he ain't going nowhere.
Oh.
He's going to be.
So you think this is just chatter?
I just think he don't have no leverage.
Not the leverage of Russell Wilson, you're saying?
Russell has leverage, but Russell also has all right. So to do what
he has a championship. Russell.
He got a championship. He's been to 2, and he's had about 2. This is like his second max contract, right? So he played his first contract out. Russell did. He made $100 million. Then he signs another $100 or some million deal, with $100 or some million guarantee. So Russell is on his way to completing about 200 million at the end of this contract. So if Seattle really upset Russell, Russell could say, hey, kiss my hot pots. I ain't showing up. You either trade me where I want to go, or I'm not going to show up and you can do it the best way you can. If they fine him, so what? He's made $100 and something million. Guess what? He can afford to lose $10 million in fines, and they don't have anybody off that bench that can really replace Russell Wilson right now, right?
But he's such a classy guy. What do you think the underlying issue is?
They don't hear him. They don't respect him the way that you respect a top 5 quarterback, you know. And so I think that, and then he got a wife that's in entertainment, and she needs to be in a big city. To me, I don't kind of get it, because even if as a singer, she's going to be traveling. It's not like if you move
Right.
to Dallas, she's just going to do everything in
Everything is
Dallas.
virtual now, so
You're still going to do concerts all over the world.
right.
But what I will say is, for her, from a marketing standpoint, it benefits her also to be in a big city, right? So when he's making decisions, he's making them for his family, right? And he's looking
Yes.
out for her career as well. Now, Deshaun Jackson, he's just coming off his rookie deal. He's never had a big deal. This is his first one. Okay. He don't have that money in the bank right now. So guess what? If Deshaun Jackson says, I'm not going to play for you anymore, I don't care what you say, they've already given him 28 million on this new deal up front. But if he doesn't show up, he got to get, if let's say he retires, I'd rather retire than play for you. Then 21 and a half goes back to the team. He got to give it back. So
So
now
what is the underlying issue with him?
you got
That's
racist owners, and he don't trust them. He don't
oh,
trust their decision making, and he don't want to be there no more. And I can't say I blame him, but he don't have no leverage. Now,
right.
the only thing he can really do is just not participate. Now, he has more. He could just say, you know what, I'll show up because I will get fined, but you know what? I ain't going all in. I'm gonna be here just enough to keep y'all out my way. I don't care. I'm gonna throw every pass left-handed. I ain't even gonna throw right-handed when I get in the game. I don't care if we win or lose. Right? He could do that if he really wants to muscle his way out of there. That's gonna be his best move. Right? You could fine him for conduct detrimental or something like that, but he could say, I'm trying to learn I'm playing and I'm being ambidextrous. I don't want them to be able, you have a hard time fighting him. He's there. He can make it really hard for the team, to be honest with you. But at the same time, he don't have no leverage. He don't have enough money banked up like Russell to just miss the whole season. And
Right.
even if he retired and tried to come back, Houston still has Houston has its right. So let's just say Deshaun Jackson says, you know what? I'm not playing for you this year. I'd rather sit out the whole year. Guess what? When you come back the next year, you still owe him 4 years.
Mm.
If you retire, when you come back, they still own your rights.
So
You
will either of these issues come to fruition with Deshaun or Russell Wilson? Or
so
is this
technically,
just chatter?
so technically, Russell hasn't demanded a trade. Russell has just said he's not happy about X, Y, and Z, and I'm not asking for a trade. But if I were to get traded, these are the teams I'm willing to go to.
Hmm.
That's what he said. But he hasn't just come out and said, I won't play for you anymore. Deshaun has actually come out and said, I won't play for you anymore.
Okay.
But you got to have leverage, you know, and money rules the world.
Right.
Now,
And a rookie and a seasoned player, it's two different types of
you're
leverage.
talking two
Hey,
different
Eric.
types.
What's up, Eric?
What's
Feel
going on? He has to
feel
take
free
his,
to chime in. You have to take yourself off of mute if you want to talk.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Cheryl?
Fine, fine. We just chatting for a little bit
Yeah,
about
I
things
just
going on. Tiger Woods and the accident. We're thankful that he survived the accident. Russell Wilson, he's such a classy guy.
right,
And Darren was telling me some things that I didn't even know about Russell Wilson that even heightened
mm,
my respect about he's a Christian man. I didn't even know that.
right,
So he has more leverage than Deshaun. So we'll see how that goes. If you want to chime in about the trade chatter.
right. I'm not too knowledgeable on a lot of things going on right now. Cheryl's son, Houston, Darren, he's in my play right now. I just wrote a play about bullying a little while ago, so I've been rehearsing that in production of that,
Okay.
and so that's
Oh,
pretty much
oh,
what's
Darren,
consuming a
you
lot of my time.
probably have heard of his play. It
Huh?
was Grandma. Don't
Okay.
tell Grandma about.
Yeah, don't tell grandma I met him online.
You
And I
remember that
wrote that.
play back in the day?
Yeah, I wrote that
Yeah, it
like in
sounds very
'09, and
familiar.
so we haven't done it since like around 2015, but it was pretty popular when we were doing it. I was a little ahead of my time when I wrote it. Like I said, back in '09, a lot of people didn't know about online dating, and at least not as many as do now. And
Right.
so I'm gonna be bringing that back out shortly. So
Yeah, well,
between my play and all that, I heard about Tiger Woods having an accident, and I don't even know what the outcome of that was. I think he was all right. They found him. They had to get him out of the car with the jaws of life or whatever.
Yeah.
I did
well,
hear that.
he had surgery,
Uh,
and I think he had to have a follow-up surgery. If I'm not mistaken, I read some about that this morning.
oh, okay,
But
okay.
they say he's recovering well now. I honestly don't see a scenario where he's going to come back.
Oh, because of the accident, I guess did it damage his back or anything regarding his back is touch and go because he just came out of so many
Yeah,
different
well, I
surgeries.
mean, Tiger had already. So before the accident, he just had back surgery.
Right, right, right. He's
And,
had so many.
and so now you got to get pulled out the car that way, tore his leg up, and
Okay.
now you don't broke that in so many different places.
Oh, did he? Okay.
You
Yeah,
do
they
have
were
to,
comparing
yeah,
his injury to Alex Smith, the football player, where bones were sticking out of his
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
ankles.
So
Yeah,
you
I remember.
have,
Yeah, I remember what Billy Kilmer or someone. One of the Redskins quarterbacks had an injury like that where someone tackled him and then he didn't want to watch. It was like, his leg just broke in half and all that.
Yeah.
Joe Theismann.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe Theismann. Right,
Yeah.
right, right. So yeah, if it's
Well,
anything like that, I can imagine if I couldn't even see him coming back.
I just don't see. I mean, listen, we're older now. I mean, I don't know how old Tiger is, but I know he's in his 40s. I don't think he's
Right,
old as me,
right.
but he's not far behind me. I'm about to be 49.
Okay.
Um, I'm not 100% sure how old Tiger is, but I know he's in his mid to late 40s. And when you look at what has happened to his body over the last few years, and all the different surgeries, you don't get healthier as you get older. You typically get more unhealthy.
Right.
And he carries more weight than he did when he was younger.
Hmm.
The way that he used to torque his body, I remember even when his prime, they used to say that that didn't look good or it didn't look like it was technically sound.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? You can't do all those things as you get older. I'm trying to look up his age now.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he got to be in
But
his
but
40s.
But
Tiger, he's 45.
Okay.
okay.
Tiger's 45 years old, and when you think about how many surgeries he's had and stuff like that, I just don't see a scenario where now he probably end up coaching his son up though. His son will probably come be the next version of himself. But
Mhm.
Hmm.
sometimes, like when they every day, they talk about who's the best. To me, you can't necessarily always go by championships because
Hmm.
I don't think that championships tell a whole story,
Hmm.
right? Especially in other sports. Golf is more of an individual sport. But
Hmm.
let's go to tennis. I'd rather watch women's tennis more than men's tennis because to me, women's tennis, you see the whole evolution of the game. You
Hmm.
see the close to the net game. You see the running around, the acrobatic moves.
Hmm.
You see the powerful surge. You see all of it. You see everything that tennis brings. With the guys, all you got is a whole bunch of dudes that's hitting the ball hard, and you get you a little bit, but you don't really get all of the game. It's just more of a power game, right?
Right, right, right.
Now, having said that, when you look at the woman that has the record for the most majors, who really believes that in her prime and Serena in her prime, she would beat Serena Williams? Serena would wipe the dust off with her because that woman never played against a woman
Hmm.
hitting a serve 130 miles per hour like a man.
Hmm.
They weren't prepared for that, right?
Hmm.
And so when you look at what Venus and Serena did to the game of golf,
Game of
people don't.
tennis.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, to the game of tennis, they don't give them the credit that they deserve, right? And to be honest with you, Serena may not have as many majors if Venus doesn't get sick.
Mhm.
Because think about it, Serena never could beat Venus. Then Venus got sick. She got, I forgot what it is that she suffers with, but she hasn't really been the same since. You know, she's sick a lot. But she was dominated women's tennis, and then when she handed the baton to her sister, and her sister just dominated it. And even when you look at it now, you can look at Serena and tell that she doesn't take care of her body the same. She's got a lot more weight on her.
Mhm.
She's older, but it ain't like she lost, in the first round last week. I mean, she's still all the way either in the quarterfinals, semifinals, or finals, right?
Yeah, like we said about Tiger, he's the GOAT. He's already proven himself, and Serena
Yeah,
has already
Right.
proven
yeah,
herself.
Right.
Some people, their name is synonymous with their craft.
yeah.
Mhm.
Now to me, I
Yeah.
just, now, I golf, I give Tiger. The other sports, I think they wave that goat baton around a little bit too
Oh
free.
my goodness. Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
like Tom Brady. I
Tom
don't care.
Brady.
I don't care how many Super Bowls he wins. You got to put. Sometimes you have to put stuff in context, right? So because he has 7, everybody's like, man, no one's won that much, right?
But no
But
one's had so many questionable issues attached with the filming of the other
right.
teams behind the scenes, the deflate gate where they're deflating the
and then
ball, and
and then you look at the straight up cheating that they did to Oakland on the first one.
Mhm.
Like, you've never seen that call again. Now you think about that. How many quarterbacks are tucking it away now, and then when they get knocked out, it's just a fumble, right? If you when your hand is coming forward, if that sucker's empty, it's a fumble,
full,
right?
right.
When they're tucking it away and you knock it out, it's a fumble. The only time it hasn't been a fumble was against Oakland. And to be honest with you, I think the NFL has a problem with Oakland.
Mhm.
Mm,
I'm gonna tell you why I think so. Tell me why no Oakland Raiders players are really in the Hall of Fame.
mm.
Lester Hayes was Dion before Dion. How is Lester Hayes not in the Hall of Fame? Jim Plunkett, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. If Kurt Warner is in the Hall of Fame for his pitiful career, how in the devil is Jim Plunkett not in the Hall of Fame? It's too many Oakland Raiders players that are just not in the Hall of Fame, and I believe the NFL has a problem
With the
with
the
the Oakland
Raiders,
Raiders. I
right?
really do. And
Didn't the Raiders move to Las Vegas? Where's the Raiders
they
just
moved to
moved?
Las Vegas.
All
They moved
right,
to Las Vegas. But
that
when
doesn't
you
even sound right.
they don't sound right, and they should have figured out how to keep them in Oakland. But when you look at Tom Brady, this is what I tell people. They say, "Man, you just don't like Tom." It's not that I don't like Tom. If you're great, then be great, and let that be enough. Like when I watch, I'm a Magic Johnson fan, and if you ask me, he was the best that done it, and
Mm,
I can articulate why. Right now, you don't see a whole lot of cheating going on to help Magic win 5 championships. He
right,
just outplayed who he beat. He took his losses, but he won because he was just better. They were just better than the other team, right?
right.
Okay. So when you look at Tom Brady's body of work, let's go to the first Super Bowl. Okay. Tom Brady won. They had the situation in Oakland. Then they go to the Super Bowl and win. All right, whatever. The cheating happened in the championship game, not the Super Bowl. But when you go to the next 2 Super Bowls he won, he really wasn't the Tom Brady you know now. He was basically a game manager. They had a really good defense. They had a really good running game, and he just didn't make the mistakes.
Hmm.
He didn't really turn into Tom Brady that you noticed throwing it all over the yard until like the 4th Super Bowl. But then you still have to deal with the fact that all the cheating allegations and everybody, like Peyton Manning actually said, when he needed to talk to the team, he talked to them in the hallway because they felt the locker rooms were bugged and they didn't understand. They were afraid to speak openly in the visitors' locker room. Oh, you talk to Pittsburgh, they said every time they go play in New England, there's always a headset issue. Well, if you the home team, it's not affecting you as much. Guess what? Guess who it affects? When the visiting team can't communicate with the quarterback effectively on the field, it is giving the home team a
An
competitive advantage,
advantage.
right? So when you sit here and you look at all of these things, Why do so much scandal have to happen if you're truly the GOAT, right? Then if you go back to 2018, when they beat the Chiefs the first time in their championship game, well, guess what? I remember the punt happened, and then Edelman muffled the punt. The call on the field said it was a phone, that he touched it. There wasn't any evidence that showed to the contrary, but and the rules say if you don't have proof to show other than that, you go with the call on the field. Guess what? They gave New England the ball back. So that now, if you when you look at, then you sit there and look at, I forget it was like 3rd and 18 in the fourth quarter, and the defender was reaching for Tom Brady to try to sack him, and his hand went in front of Tom's face. They called a face mask, and everybody in the booth is saying he didn't touch him. He only put his hand in the face. Guess what? That's a first down. That kept another drive going, right? So even though all of those things happened, and it was one more thing that happened, the Kansas City Chief player was offsides, which still would have sent him home with a win. But the point is, there were huge third down conversions that they gave New England, and huge plays in that fourth quarter that they didn't deserve to have, that gave them the ball and gave them chances to win a game that they shouldn't have won. Even in the Super Bowl right now, it's like, I believe the Super Bowl was fixed. If people will look at me and say, man, you just don't like Tom, I'm going to tell you why I believe the Super Bowl is fixed. Now, after the Super Bowl, I look at Undisputed with Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless every day. Shannon Sharpe said they played cover 2 the whole entire game, right? And he says in a cover 2 defense, they're trying not to give up the big play. He says you can't throw a team out of cover 2. The only thing you can do is run the ball because the running lanes are wide open. So you're telling me that a player that played for 14 years knows this, but a coach that coached for 30 years that don't want one of the winningest coaches in the NFL history, he don't know that you can't throw a team out of cover 2. You never saw the team change. You never saw any adjustments. Yes, Kansas City was missing a couple offensive lines, but you never saw any adjustments to help their quarterback not running all over the place. And then you didn't see the sense of urgency coming from Kelsey and Tyreek Hill coming back to the ball. Balls hitting them in the hands as bad as they played, they're dropping passes that they never dropped. And then I got to sit here and listen to people tell me how great Tom is. No, I think Tom is still playing pretty good ball, but you can't explain to me how if you're a coach of Andy Reid's stature, and it's not even like you don't have running backs on the roster. Dude got Le'Veon Bell, who before he held out in Pittsburgh was considered the best in the league, and you ain't got no whole lot of cards on your body. You still got Hilaire, and you got, I forget the other running back that they have, Williams, I think. None of them jokers can get the ball consistently.
But you know, Darren, you are a sports aficionado, and we can be talking about this subject until eternity. You know how we go.
Yeah.
But I watched the game, and I couldn't even endure the whole thing because sometimes the games are run by the officials. The calls that are not called in other games, but when it comes to Tom Brady, the officials are playing the game and making it so that the other team, no matter what they do, will not progress forward. So that's what I determined in that game. That was a game of the officials calling it, so that it didn't matter what the Mahomes did. It didn't matter what he did.
It matters that you also have the race element, right? And as much as you try not to make everything about race,
it's gonna come back to it.
They are not gonna have some black boy who most people already say is better than Tom, right?
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
You won't have him beat Tom. I can tell you that right now.
Nah.
If Aaron Rodgers would have been in the Super Bowl, you wouldn't have cared because you think you still got a golden arm, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you won't let, you look at all the years of the NFL, and black quarterbacks are just starting to get their shine right now. And they're just starting, and they still really don't have an equal opportunity, right? Mm-mm. But the problem is like, when I look at players, it's like some things don't make sense to me. And you can tell players that really read their press lines.
Mm.
Like as much as I like Lamar Jackson and want to see him do well, he reads his press clippings. He's never going to win a Super Bowl.
Mm.
And you remember you heard it here first, right? You know why he's not going to win a Super Bowl?
No.
Because he is just like Michael Vick was at this point of his career. He can't throw the ball, right?
Mm.
So did Vick have the physical gift to throw the ball? Yep, he can throw it 80 yards. But he's a run first quarterback. And if I can't run it, I'm gonna throw it.
Wow.
And you're gonna lose your team. Hollywood Brown and the rest of them receivers didn't go to college and didn't do all that working out and don't do all that training to just be blockers. They do that to catch the ball. I
Well,
got a
hold that
quarter.
thought. Hold that thought. We're going to let Eric jump in here and we're going to hear a little bit. We're going to come back to some of those topics, but we have 2-minute warning on each topic to that hit it and quit it kind of situation. So Eric, you want to tell us a little bit about, this is being recorded, so it'll be shared again. Tell us a little bit about your project that you're working on, if you have a minute,
Okay.
and
Okay.
and we can share it.
Okay. Well, my project, the name of my play is bullying, the new B word, and I wrote it a couple of years ago at the request of my long friend, and he's my executive producer on this project, Gary Clark. Um, he had mentioned the fact that he wanted me to do something about bullying, like maybe 6, 7 years, I guess 4 or 5 years ago, back in 2014, 2015, and I said, okay, okay. So I just started writing it around 2018. It only takes me a few months to write a play. And
Mm-hmm.
so it only took me a few months to write it. And so I finished it around June of 2018. But it was something that had been mentioned to me over the last 5 years or so. And so it was because a lot of issues in schools was going on about bullying and how people were getting bullied by social media. And then just in different ways that we were when we were growing up because of the Facebook and social media outlets. So I wrote a play about that, and we've done um, we've done one scene, scene number 4, where it's called "Where's My Baby," and it involves Kiana, the main female of the play, and she gets bullied, and her mother finds her in the on the balcony in their apartment. So she comes in the house, and she's on the phone with her girlfriend Janae, frantic, wondering where her little girl is, and then she hears her on the balcony. So she tells Janae, "I have to let me hang up. I think I hear my baby crying on the balcony." So she goes out to the balcony and she brings her in. She said, "Well, what's wrong?" She said, "Well, I want to kill myself." She said, "Well, why in the world do you want to do that?" She said, "Well, because everyone in the school is picking on me. They calling me names. They're taking my lunch, and Kenny doesn't even like me now because they're making fun of me so much." She said, "Well, who the hell is Kenny?" She said, "That's a boy in my school everybody likes." So they get to talking, and then crying, and she's consoling the daughter, and then the grandmother comes in, and she's frantic, and she's heard the news that her baby was missing, and so she thinks she sees her. She thinks she saw her in a white van with a man, and so she took a picture of the a man with the white van. She said, "Here, I got the picture of the man in the white van right here." And then there's a man already in there in the apartment, and it was her father who come right before the grandmother, because he only comes by once or twice a year to give his daughter a Christmas gift or a birthday gift of Nike tennis shoes. So when the grandmother sees the man standing next to her, she said, "That's the man. And look at right here." Say, "No, that's Kiana's father, Terrence." "Oh
Well,
yeah."
we don't want to give the whole play away. we don't want to give the we
So
don't want to
anyway,
give the whole play away, but my thought on your topic was fascinating because there's so many forms of bullying. People are not only bullying in school, but bullying in media. And as we've seen in the last couple of months, the insurrection on January 6th, where one group of people were trying to carry out an insurrection. It's because we've become so divided and divisive in all of our ways under, I want to say under the last administration, but I don't want to just give that person the credit for every evil. We are, the masters of our souls and our destiny, we had part in making choices as well. But it seems like we were lulled into this sense of
Well, he
we
stirred that base up though.
okay.
So if you, if I don't,
So
it's like,
bullying, yeah, speak on bullying as it relates to our mindset in the world today.
I mean, I don't know. I think that you know, as parents of this generation, we messed up kids, right? No, you don't want your kids to go to school and fight all the time over foolishness and stuff like that. But I do believe that I don't believe that parents did a good job of differentiating whether you're fighting or defending yourself, right? So there's not going to be this world where you're going to just say, um, everybody just going to, sing kumbaya, like each other, and everything is going to work out that way. I grew up with a skin disease that's rare. Um, and I remember growing up, kids calling me scratches and picking on me every day. You know why they stopped? Because I started punching people in the jaw. I started beating up kids. And you know what they did? They left me alone.
Right,
Won't nobody taking my lunch or won't nobody picking with me, right?
right.
I don't have a problem giving you this business. If you, my mom finally came to the school and she beat me. I got one of the worst whoopings in my life. And I was in the first grade. This little
Wow.
boy kept picking on me. And I stomped that little boy out, little white boy. I remember it like it was yesterday, named Robert Prophet. And by the
Hmm.
time I finished beating that little boy up, my mama seen what I did to that boy. She didn't, and she told me, I ain't beat you because you was wrong. I beat you because you got to live with this for the rest of your life, and you can't fight everybody, right? Now,
Hmm.
I got in a few more fights, but the point of the matter is, I look at all these cyberbullying. It's like I don't get these kids and how sensitive they are over foolishness
Right.
because I know how to defend myself. I've always known how to do that. And if you got enough mouth to disrespect me, you got enough mouth to take this to the jaw. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take any punishment that come with that if anybody is disrespecting me.
But in all fairness, you're 6'2". You
I won't
know,
sit
not
too here,
every,
no.
but I'm saying, what do you say to the people who don't have that physical advantage? Because I know old school, our parents taught us don't start nothing and it won't be nothing, but they always put it in our minds that you're going to have to deal with a greater force if you're weak minded and you just let people push over you. You're
They
going to
take us.
have to protect yourself or learn how to protect yourself. So we weren't allowed to start fights, but we had to at least try to finish them.
Yeah. If I fool where your knee ain't got that much pressure from side to side. And if somebody got that much of an advantage, I'm kicking them right in the daggone knee. And once they get to the ground, they all mine. I'm telling you that
What are
I'm
your
going.
thoughts, Eric, about a smaller person having to
Well,
fend
I
for
think
themselves?
I think a lot of the problem is about the kids being bullied and being so sensitive is because they're not socialized outside. We used to go outside after school and play
Yeah.
kickball and play in the streets and ride our bicycles and
Play the dozens.
make go karts, and we walked on stilts with coffee cans, and we made our own skates and things like that. So we just
Oh,
want to
I
play
forgot
outside.
about that.
The kids don't go outside anymore. Our parents used to say, "Don't keep coming in and out of this house. Next time you come in, you got to stay in, or stop opening, closing that refrigerator door, keep it, closed, whatever." So kids, they're on video games, and so they're not as
Right.
socialized. So when they do start talking amongst each other, we call it wolf tickets, selling wolf tickets. You didn't even
Right.
have to throw a punch. We would just do it verbally, and who can out talk, who can out wolf someone else. And now they take it seriously, and even in school they don't have recess like we used to have. We used to
Right.
for a whole hour we can go anywhere we want to. We can go off the playground, go home because we weren't bused to school when I was growing up. I'm a little bit older than you are. I'm 60 years old, so we used to walk to school. They weren't busing kids in the 60s, and so we were just right in the neighborhood, and we just was out all the time. And so now when the kids can't go outside for recess, they can't do anything. So when things do happen, it's heightened, and they're so sensitive, and
Right.
with the social media, and they put something on Facebook and they start crying because it gets out, everyone sees it. So it's just a whole new age that wasn't even in existence when we were growing up.
You're
So
right. People are the children now. The suicide rate is up like 200% because people are
yeah,
sensitive to what people are
it's
just simply
sensitive.
saying to them.
maybe people's fathers aren't there to kind of coach them on into like standing up for themselves.
Right, right.
Not to say mothers can't do it, but sometimes it's different when there's a man in the home that can actually be there to show the child, and she's gonna be like, well, you better not come back in this house because I'm gonna beat you if you if you don't beat them.
Absolutely.
So that's what we were told. So it's just a whole
Right,
other
right.
day, man. It's a whole other day and
And
age. Yeah,
there's value in some of those teachings, and
yeah,
actually having a man in the household, and
yeah.
even if it's an uncle or your brothers or your
Right,
cousins,
right.
you had
And
a network.
and not only that, the neighborhood was the village. They say it takes a village to raise a child, and if your parents would hear about it before you got home from other people's parents or from other kids.
That's
They
right.
didn't have to know that you did anything, but they would hear about it by the time you got home because everyone
Mm,
spoke up.
right,
So
right.
it's a whole nother no another day and time back then
Well,
where
we're going to be looking out for your play, because it's my understanding that eventually you're going to have some snippets or some versions of it at the Kennedy, shown at the Kennedy Center.
Oh yeah, we're in the process of putting something together like that right now. We don't want to talk too much about that,
Right.
but yeah, we have sent them some of the footage of some of the scenes I was telling you about, and
But it'll be seen around the area in the nation's capital, and that's huge
yeah, yeah,
within
yeah,
itself.
yeah.
So we're
Well,
going to look forward to that.
are you waiting till COVID restrictions are lifted to start to play? I mean, when do you have a timeline? 'Cause
Well,
I may come up there and check you out.
well, like I said, right now we're in the process of getting ready to do taping at different scenarios, different venues. We taped at the Busboys and Poets back in October, so that we
Mhm.
can use that, so that we can send out to different companies and theater groups and things like that. And so we had been before COVID had really gotten started. We were doing this one particular scene at a couple of schools. We did it at H.D. Woodson at a ninth grade assembly. We did it at Busboys, and not only did we do it at Busboys and Ports, we did it at Ben's Chili Bowl in Northeast, the one on 10th Street in Northeast. We did it there. We were Busboys in Ports in Southeast over there by the Big Chair. We did it there for about 3 or 4 times. We were doing it like that until COVID started, and then
Mhm.
so now when we do it, we're going to be doing it not for audiences to come to see it, but just so that our production crew and our cast can perform it. And then once we tape it, then we'll put it on different media sites and social media sites or websites like that.
Mm. Yeah. So speaking of COVID and coronavirus and restrictions, we're coming around the bend. I know we've lost a lot of people, and many of us have been affected ourselves, myself specifically.
Mhm.
But there's a push now for the vaccination. I'm not sure how you all feel about the vaccination, but there are medications now that people are deeming credible enough to use as treatment, that if you get any symptoms of coronavirus, that this knocks it out. But it's not being promoted in the mainstream media. But I put some information on my website. If anybody knows anybody that has even symptoms of coronavirus, check out the website. It's ivermectin, and make sure that they have this. Is something that can be kept in your medicine cabinet. People really don't have to die
Mhm.
now of the coronavirus, even though they still are. But it's an inexpensive medication that's only a couple of dollars. But the physicians are hesitant to present it to people because there's a big push for everybody to be vaccinated. And that vaccination is a different type of vaccination. And that's my concern, because it's a messenger vaccination. It's a message on your DNA, so it's quite different from vaccinations of times past.
But
So,
I think that I don't know. This is my personal opinion. But I think that one, it was man made. So when they put it out, they already had the cure. That's how come you can come up
mm,
with one so
so
quickly.
quickly.
But people don't believe in it. But the truth of the matter is, I work in the world of insurance. Um, I have my own opinions about stuff. And then my opinion is this: they put COVID out to kill people. They want you to die because you gotta be able to control the population. And I'm gonna give you a prime example of why I say what I say, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. So Social Security wasn't made to live on for 20 years. It was created to work till you're 65. You go on Social Security, and then you live till you're 76, and then you're going on be with the Lord, right? But when you look at Social Security now, people are on it for as many years as they worked. My grandmother was 97 when she died. So
Hmm.
think about my Aunt Margaret was 95 when she died. My Aunt Elizabeth was 96 when she died. People are
Wow.
living in well into their 90s now. Most of our parents. How old is your mom, Cheryl?
She's 84.
Well into her 80s, right? And realistically, she'll probably be in her 90s. Okay. When you look at how long people are on Social Security, the system is broke because there's not enough money going in it, and then there's too many people on it. So I'm only talking about the old people, but you're not talking about the people that go out here and do what they got to do to get that $700 check every month. And then by the time you add that to the people that's really getting old and getting on Social Security and all that, the government, there's not enough money in it, right? It's running out of money. So how do you control it? You control the population. Who's really getting hurt the most by COVID? Most people that die have underlying conditions. I have a cousin that passed to COVID, but the truth is she had a heart problem and diabetes before she got COVID, right? You haven't really seen a lot of people that were 100% healthy got diagnosed with COVID and died,
Right.
right? You had it, Cheryl.
Right.
You don't have all those issues. As bad as it was, you didn't die. But if you were a type 2 diabetic, were already on medicine, if you had um, um, sarcoidosis or something else, then you would have got that. We probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you
Hmm.
because it does so much to the body. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so for me, when you start looking at what they're trying to do, it's about putting money back in the economy, making somebody rich at these pharmaceutical companies. So you're pushing everybody to take a vaccine. And there are probably a whole lot of ways. It's supposed to be an airborne disease. My grandmother used to tell me when it doesn't snow, germs, you know, are more. You haven't heard a lot of people catching COVID in the last couple of weeks, right? It's been snowing and cold as crap. Science says that germs can't live in a certain degrees cold or a certain degrees hot. And they not telling you now that not that many people. You mean if you look at it collectively, they'll throw big numbers out at you, but we think the state's big.
But they're saying that the numbers are going down because of the vaccine.
It's
Where
bullcrap.
really they're also saying that the vaccine does not prevent COVID.
They don't.
So,
And I've never had COVID. And
And,
uh,
and if I can say
but you
this,
want to know something that was curious? I've never been sick in my life. I've never been sick. For the first time, my job mandated that we either get a shot or we will be fired. So you have like 50,000 people mandated for the first time in life to get a shot, in a flu shot. But in this strand that they gave me had the coronavirus in the shot. So 6 months after I got that shot, magically I got coronavirus.
mm,
So why have I never been sick in my life, but after I get a vaccination? What is it? Prince Philip, who is the husband of the Queen Elizabeth,
Prince
is
Philip.
100 years old.
mm.
He got the vaccination last week, and now he's in the hospital. How did you survive 100?
Is he 100 years old?
100. His
And they say
birthday
that
is in 4 weeks, right? Google
and
it,
they
Darren.
say that baseball player with Hank Aaron,
Uh
they
Yeah.
huh.
they said that he took the COVID vaccine and it was videoed on television because he was doing it to show black people how he wasn't afraid to take it. And then 17 days after that, he died.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and listen, the regular news stations, they weren't saying, because I had heard that he died. I didn't see it until I saw it on, Inside Edition, that news show on, like, on 3:30 in the afternoon, that informative show that talks about everything. They
Yeah,
said,
with Deborah Norville. I love her.
Deborah North, I love that show, because they said that he died because he had taken that COVID vaccine 17 days before. That was the first time I had heard. Now, regular news stations at 5, 6, 7 o'clock news, I heard that he that passed, but I didn't hear that he had taken the COVID vaccine 17. But they had it it was on camera. It was on a TV broadcast, because he was taking it to show black people that he wasn't afraid. But then right after Deborah Norville posted that, the next day the news was saying that he died of complication. It wasn't because of the COVID vaccine. I'm like, okay,
No,
right,
the
whatever.
mainstream media, they're using
Right.
the term variants from Africa. So those are simply side effects, in my opinion, of people that's gotten the vaccine, and now they're saying, oh, there's a new strand or there's a
Right.
variant.
Right.
It's a cover for,
Right.
but the CDC, when they interviewed, everybody called me after I had coronavirus. And I'm so happy that I was not in a place where they put me on a ventilator, because the people that are on a ventilator are killed because of the ventilator.
Right.
So I was treated
These
by,
doctors,
And the
everything is about
hospitals are
money.
getting paid more whenever it's classified as COVID. The hospitals
yes,
are getting
Because
paid.
see,
yeah,
that's why everybody got COVID. Because think about this. Where did the flu go?
right.
Right.
So everybody got COVID now. Nobody got the flu this
Now,
year.
now
Nobody,
no one wants to say they got a cold or they got the flu.
Everybody COVID. Everybody got
You
COVID
have COVID
19.
or you don't.
yeah,
So my
where did the
point,
flu go? Where
What
did it
where did
happened
the
to
go?
the
flu go?
flu? Right. Right.
You start sniffing and coughing, man. People are like,
It's COVID
And if you
yeah.
look on these Lysol cans, they will say it covers all the strains of things, and then
of coronavirus. But magically, the
it's
minute
Trump.
that coronavirus, they took all Lysol off the shelf.
Well, they
Like
took. I think they took the verbiage of how it kills the coronavirus off the cans, but you're saying they took it off the shelf
They
too.
took it off the shelf. Nobody could find
Yeah, yeah. Lysol.
the
well, they just
Lysol.
wasn't producing it though. I mean, when you was trying to buy Lysol, people went out because it said it fought against coronavirus. People went out and bought it all.
No, but they can manufacture more. That's more money for them.
I
Yeah.
know
No,
other yeah.
they took it off the shelf so that people could continue in this pathway of not killing that virus. Also, Listerine that kills 99% of the germs. People don't understand that there's a nasal spray that you can spray
Mhm.
on the polyps of your nose that kills the coronavirus. And once it reaches your throat, not Listerine or any kind of mouthwash that kills 99% of the germs kills that coronavirus in your throat. But instead of talking about tangible, sensible things, they were deflecting,
Because
drinking bleach
that don't make people
and
money.
putting on double and triple masks. Double and triple mask doesn't prevent
Yeah.
coronavirus.
Because see, that doesn't. Everything in this country is about the dollar, right? And like, like I work more in life insurance, but in working in life insurance, I've learned about other aspects of insurance, right? It's like, especially at work when you're talking about health insurance, it's a big um it's almost like your jobs are robbing you. So let me explain to you how this works, right? I worked at Coca-Cola for 11 years, right? And so let's say Coca-Cola want to get health insurance. They go to Blue Cross and they say, listen, Anthem, we have 100,000 employees and we need to insure them all, right? Anthem is going to turn to Coke and say, okay, you know what? Because there's so many of you, what we're going to do is we're going to give you this package. This is all the things you can do. And we're going to give you a rebate per employee. And then what Coke is supposed to do is pass the rebate to the employee and keep healthcare down, right? So
What?
that rebate might be $700 a person. So that's how you used to pay $30, $100 a month for healthcare. What the company started doing is say, you know what? They kept all the rebates and then came to you in HR meeting before the benefits time and said, the cost of insurance went up this year.
Oh my
Right?
goodness.
And they are pocketing that money for profit and they are passing all the cost to you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So when you're paying $300 a check for insurance, you're paying it because your job is screwing you.
Wow.
You see what I'm trying to say? Because they're getting a rebate from that insurance company because they want the business.
Because they're purchasing in bulk, you're saying.
Yes,
Like
because they are getting there. Now, if you got a job and it's 10 of y'all, you're not going to get the same discount as if it's 100,000 like Blue Cross, or look at a company. You used to work for Boeing, how big Boeing is, right? They don't
Yes.
have 100 employees. They got 50,000 employees. You're going to get a discount when it comes to getting your health care.
Now Boeing had like hundreds of thousands.
That's what I'm trying to say. But you understand what I'm saying? So when
Yes.
you got a company that big, these politicians and all of these people are all corrupted, because that's why when you see these political campaigns, you see all them insurance companies sponsoring their campaigns and at them after parties, because they paying them congressmen and senators to not pass laws that's gonna hurt them, stuff like that. And
Oh
then
yeah, the lobbyist.
they
Right.
get away with that stuff. No one cares about the regular person anymore. No one cares about middle America. And the sad part about it, we've conditioned ourselves, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, so poorly that even when our politicians are screwing us, you so party allegiant, you don't even have common sense enough to hold them accountable. And it's a sad situation in like the world we live in
But
right now.
it's a different dynamic with group, and that's just another form of bullying. It's difficult for individuals to fight against big pharma, big businesses, big corporations, um, and that goes to the point of it's so many different forms of bullying. So,
Yeah.
I remember you were talking about the insurrection a few minutes ago, and I ain't trying to be funny. I wish that they would have got a hold of Mitch McConnell.
why do
I,
you say that?
because they needed to. See, let me tell you something.
Yeah, you
They're
got to
so
be careful about that because they're still talking about they want to bomb the Capitol now.
listen. I
There's
ain't
a
telling, but
reconnaissance going on regarding that right now.
listen, here's the truth. I'm not telling nobody to go bomb the Capitol, right? I'm talking about how trifling Mitch McConnell and everybody that voted not to impeach Donald Trump.
Oh,
Okay, I'm talking specifically about this. Now
but
watch
he
this.
he's been impeached twice. That what does that really mean to me?
No,
I don't
watch
see
this.
any legal teeth in that.
There was no impeachment. Forget the technical stuff, and people are happy because it went through Congress. But that's bulljob. It
Right.
ain't an impeachment until the Senate agree and you get it done. So if
Oh,
they do that, he can never run for public office at no level
oh,
again.
he's talking about 2024.
And that's my point. So watch this. If you fool around and you hear him give a speech, and that speech led to people coming into the Capitol, busting in windows, people died. Okay, if you Mitch McConnell and you think it won't no problem, you think it won't enough issue to let Donald Trump go, then what you hiding for? Okay, you see all these white people coming in here, busting in windows. Why are you running from them? You should embrace them. These are your constituents, right? These are the people that you have got all raised up because you allowed all that racist rhetoric to happen for 4 years under Donald Trump, and at no point when you knew it went too far did any of them jokers say, this is too much. We
So I
can't.
didn't hear the outcome. So you're saying he was impeached once, but not successful the next time? I don't know what the outcome was.
All right. So this is how impeachment works. So if the Congress says, okay, the president did X, Y, Z. So whether the first impeachment or the second one, they hold a vote of impeachment. And then the Congress, if you got enough votes, voted to impeach him. And the Democrats held the Congress. So guess what? They had enough votes to impeach him. They didn't need the Senate. They didn't need the Republican Party, really. So technically speaking, at that point, he's a two-time impeached.
Oh, so that's confirmed. Yeah. Okay.
But
twice impeached.
But to truly be impeached, it don't mean nothing until the Senate comes behind you, and then they do it too. Once the Senate does it, even if he's still in office, he got to pack up and go, right? Oh. So they impeached Bill Clinton, but the Senate didn't confirm it. So that's why Bill was able to finish his term. Okay. They impeached Donald Trump twice, but the Senate never agreed with it. So
like they indicted him, but they didn't convict him.
Yeah. So
So
to convict them, you need the Senate to come behind you and do it.
Oh,
The
oh, oh.
Senate, the Republican-led Senate, Mitch McConnell and them idiots kept letting him off the hook. Okay. Don't let him go and then come out in a conference the next day and talking about how mad you are. You
So
should have
it's too
showed.
late now, right? It's
Yeah,
too late. So
you
now
ain't
he
gonna.
can run again in 2024.
Yeah, but you know
Technically.
they got so much stuff that he did, man, and stuff that was illegal. Georgia, when he called them people,
And bullied, they tried to bully the guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
then he basically broke the law when he made that phone call. He got enough money to keep stuff tied up in litigation, but you know, he can really get in trouble for some of that stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
but the point of the matter is, if you're Mitch McConnell and you really believe that Donald Trump didn't do anything, why you running during the insurrection? If I'm the Secret Service, I ain't protecting your ass. You a part of why these people are out of here. Here you go. Here's your guy. Here are the people you love so much. Here are the people that you convinced that everything was rigged. Here are the people that you allowed all that racist rhetoric to happen and you never spoke out right about. I'm leaving you out here to deal with this. Because if it's no harm, no foul, then why are you running? The reason that they had to kill that white woman, and trust me, they did not want to kill that woman. They killed her because they ain't had nowhere else to go. And that room that they were protecting, that's where they put all them congressmen and senators at when the people was breaking into that building and they ain't have nowhere else to go and they shot her dead where she stand. If your voice as the president of the United States led to that, you incited a riot and you should be held 100% accountable for that. Forget a damn impeachment. You should be in a criminal court right now doing this.
But it's
But
not going to happen.
when you elect people that don't care about you, that don't care about the country truly, then at what point? What are we really? What are we really doing here? Okay, I just we are an embarrassment to the rest of the world now. Well, the United States used to be the most respected country in the world. We're not that no more. The rest of the world laughing at us.
Yeah.
You know, I just say that I wish that I could have woke. Listen, you hate to hear that you want somebody to die. I would nothing in me would have been sad. I woke up the next day and Mitch McConnell would have got hurt in that, or somebody like him would have got hurt in it because you are part of why it happened.
But
Okay,
Mitch McConnell is times 5 million, so he's
what you
just
just?
the voice of all of those people climbing into the window.
But that's my point. So my point is, listen, people say what they want. I'm no John McCain fan, but I remember when the election happened between him and President Obama, and he was on. You know, they go on the campaign trail, holding them little town hall meetings, and
Yes.
one of them white people was saying racist stuff and calling President Obama Muslim and saying he want American and all that.
Yeah.
And
I
McCain said,
remember that. I
he said,
remember.
no, that's not him. We don't agree politically, but he's a good man. He's a good family man, and no, I don't want to hear that. Right?
I remember.
Where is the right?
Integrity.
Come on, man.
Integrity.
Where's the right thing for anybody that's been elected into office? It's like sometimes people will make a fuss out about some stuff that it's really don't matter. Like I'm sitting here listening to people spend more time fussing about abortion. You know what? As a man, I would never ask a woman to have an abortion. But if I want to stay in right standing with the Lord on an abortion issue, all I gotta do is just raise my kids if I get somebody pregnant. Okay? If you can't, what I do don't send you to hell or Eric. My decisions don't do that. Okay. If we arguing about people killing babies, we do a whole lot worse things to kids than when we talking about abortions. And personally, for me, if you're not gonna raise a kid, love a kid, and all you're gonna do is abuse it and don't do what you're supposed to do, I'd rather the kid never see the light of day. I'd rather the kid not be born into this world if you're not gonna love it and feed it and all that. And the same people that's telling you not to have one, as soon as you go on welfare, they're gonna say, why you can't get a job? Why you can't do this? Why we gotta spend our hard-earned tax dollars? They complaining both ways. So what are we really doing? There's nothing set up that's gonna do the things that needs to happen. So for me, when I look at certain things, even working in my field, you know, I love my community. There's nothing I want to see more than the Black community raise up and do what it's supposed to do. But at the same time, you know, even though there's enough blame to go around, we got to do more. And sadly, as a person that's a financial services professional, I'm giving services away, teaching about credit, trying to talk to people about budget and financial planning. I don't necessarily get paid for that. But if we either going to be part of the problem or we're going to be part of the
The
solution.
solution.
But
And that's an excellent note to end on. This, oh my goodness, it's so much to talk about. So we won't make this the last time we get together and talk, because life goes on, life happens, and we need to engage with one another. And so that's the next topic for next time. I think our time is almost up. But I thank you, Eric, for
Thank you for
joining
having
the
me, Sarah.
conversation. Don't let this be your last time to join.
All right.
Next
All
time
right.
I'll give you the topics ahead of time so you
Okay.
can
Okay.
chime in,
Okay.
because we need each other. We need
Okay.
community, and the young people need to see
Right.
us talking about these things
Right.
instead of them being isolated and feeling that they don't have hope to live.
Right. Right.
When we were younger, we were able to sit around the feet of the older people and listen to
Right.
their
Right.
conversations, and they can admonish us and chastise us or love on us. Young people today is in fantasy world.
Right.
We're
Right.
on this,
Video game,
they
Fortnite.
video games.
they don't let the world
The
convince them,
world is convincing them of all sorts of.
and the world has convinced them that everything is equal now.
Right.
And
Right.
so they don't even really understand that they're what's against them, especially we have to do a better job of getting our children in place. I look at somebody like Cornel West, and I know you had someone an email about him. I really lost respect for him during the Obama years.
Oh,
you know the brother's highly intelligent, you can't deny
right.
that,
He's a
right?
professor at Harvard.
Yeah, but he
And
forgot who he was. See, he's so busy. You see, it's like you got some people that just want change. Then you got some people that want to be the reason that the change occurs. And that's more important to them than the person that's actually leading the path, right?
wow, that's
So when
deep.
you look at Jesse Jackson and Cornel West and what's that brother from Georgetown?
Um, it was one TV host that
Michael Michael
Eric
Eric
Dyson,
Michael Dyson, right?
Michael Eric
All
Dyson.
of them jokers hate on President Obama. Why? Because they think they were so smart. They want to be the reason that it happened. So like even when you listen to a brother like Umar Johnson, who he sounds articulate, so people like believe everything he got to say. It's like it's the most ridiculous thing. And I hate to just call people stupid, but you are stupid. It's like let's get down to how the system works, right? We say, I know you and I got into a debate one time, sure, and I'm gonna let it go. About when I said to you, we don't show up to vote, right? And so you were like, Darren, we are showing up to vote. We are, but we're not, right? So when you look at the electoral college, people give it a lot of negativity, but the electoral college really just keeps checks and balances. What it really is doing is making you vote, right? Because you have to win the state to get the electoral votes. You see what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
even though collectively you can go and you can win because because you got more popular votes, well, you got to look at the country how it's set up. Here are your 5 largest states in the United States: New York, California, Illinois, Texas, Florida. Those 5 states make up 2/3 of the population of the country. You wouldn't be more happy if those 5 states settled the election every time. You really would say, well, what's the point of voting, right? So when you look at Eric Michael Dyson and all them people, Umar Johnson, or President Obama didn't have a black agenda, well, guess what? President Obama got elected in '08 and inherited the worst economy ever. We saw him get elected. You saw even Democrats walk off their seats because a black man got elected. Okay, cool. Then you come back, he lost the Senate. Then you fool around and lose the House. He spent his whole presidency fighting against Republicans over stuff that normally they even agreed with in past times, right? Where were we? So when I go and vote for the Senate and the Congress, I walk in and walk out. When you go vote for the president, there's a line wrapped around the building. We are the deciding factor in every election. We are not showing up to vote for the Commonwealth Attorney. We ain't showing up to vote for the judges. We ain't showing up to vote for the district attorney. We ain't showing up to vote for the school board member. So guess what? When your son gets shot and you need to get an indictment and you let them racist people vote their guy in, you tell me who's responsible when we can't get when they keep walking off and getting acquitted. We are the problem because we won't use the process.
But you know, you changed my mind and you opened my eyes about that. You opened my eyes about that. And it made me think, you know, as old as I am, it made me think differently about the priority. I understand voting for the president is a priority, but with all the people, we fought hard at Harvard to get rid of stop and frisk. That was unconstitutional.
And the president really don't have the power you think he has.
So, right. So we were over in times past concentrating on levels of government that did not directly affect our local communities. Mm-hmm. It was good to vote for the president, but the prosecutors, I did not know that we had a part in selecting the prosecutors or the district attorneys and the judges. I just learned a lot in the past few years.
So when you have to fool around and you want
about my priorities and how they need to be switched,
and the census. How many black people really don't do the census? They don't want everybody all in their business, right? Guess what? But the census is how the federal government and the state governments allocate funds that go into various communities, and they lock that in for 10 years. If ain't no money, bam, you ain't got no money. So when you start talking about the things that are really going to affect the community and the things that can change and how that's why they spend so much time trying to push this stuff, because whose community is hurting the worst? The blacks and Hispanics. And we the main two groups not voting and not filling out censuses and all that other stuff. I'm just trying to tell you, man, it's like we have to be a part of our own rescue. You know, for me, I can only do so much. You know, I held, you came to my seminar, and I think I shared this with you. Every month I held that seminar. I'm begging people that look like me to show up to a free seminar talking about budget and financial planning and asset growth and all the things that we cover, which is a lot. And at the end, we even say to you, if you have a job, we'll review your 401k for free, advise you on where to put your money. Sure, this stuff is for free. I don't work for no rinky-dink insurance company. I work for the largest mutual company in this country, right? Now, if I'm putting up something in place to help my community and all they want to do is tell them, I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. Guess what? Now, who's the problem? You tell me, how do we move? And guess what? Black Lives Matter or the marching you want to do, you can do whatever you want to do. The difference between black people and the gay people, if you really want to know the truth about it, gay people stick together. I don't care if they're the L, the B, the G, the T, or the Q. If you mess with one of them, they always stick together. They pool their money. The celebrities like them pool their money. They got a lobbyist in place, put them lobbyists in Congress, and everything they want to happen, it happens for them. The only people that don't seem to be able to understand that we're better together than apart is the black community. We don't trust each other enough to let somebody like me teach them, and then to get together and pool our money and resources together to get stuff done. How can we change? You can march all you want. You know what they know? We don't have enough money. I don't care if you say we're gonna have a blackout on this day. One day of not shopping in Walmart didn't do nothing because they know you. If you didn't shop on the 7th, you went on the 6th, or you're going on the 8th. The same amount of money was spent. We have to try to do better to help our agenda, and we have to participate in helping ourselves and changing our mindsets.
And I agree. And we're going to end on that note because we not just going to talk about it, we're going to be about it. And this is the first installment of that. Do we agree? You know, despise not small beginnings. It's 3 of us now, but soon it'll be 3 million.
That's right.
So this is a beginning. So I
want to thank you, Phil, for having me on this evening and inviting me to see what was going on, and I'm really learning some things from Darren, and it was very knowledgeable and interesting conversation that we've had.
So am I. I'm learning a lot. So thank you all for joining, and we're going to do this again very soon. Okay? All right. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Cheryl.
Thanks.